Andrew.
Well, hello, Claude. Welcome to my art gallery and welcome to Maison Soleil.
Thank you very much.
Please.
Andrew started life in Yorkshire, a land of noisy, dusty steelworks.
My family lived there till I was 6 years old, and then we moved to Great Yarmouth in Norfolk, which was like moving from city full of steelworks and dust and grime to the beach and the seaside. And I've been happily searching for the perfect beach seaside place to live for the rest of my life, and here I am in Seychelles. My favourite show was Blue Peter. That was a children's show, and they were always showing you things that you could make and do, things that you could make out of nothing, out of very liquid bottles and old cardboard boxes, and the best toy I ever had when I was a child was a toy theatre, which on Blue Peter they gave you the instructions to make a theatre which had scenery in it and lights and curtains. And now that should have been a sign to my parents that that I would always be doing the things like that.
Although Andrew loved art, he was forced to go to hotel school to study hotel management. He later got a job in a theatre where he met quite a few celebrities.
I wanted to go to art school when I was at school because I'd spent all my time in the art room, and they suggested no, boys from grammar school don't go to art school, best you go to hotel school. So I believed them and trusted them, and off I went to a hotel school for 2 years and did a qualification in hotel and catering management. And then, funnily enough, now I end up running a hotel, my own little hotel, 50 years down the line. But after hotel school, I worked as a chef. I was a fully trained, qualified chef. I worked as a chef for a couple of years, went up to London, and then I managed to sort of sidetrack into a job working in theatres and costumes for film and television, and that was great. I loved that. I think at that time in London, jobs were available. You didn't need to work in the wardrobe department and Coliseum Theatre. You didn't need any qualifications. You just needed to be willing and able, and that led me into going to art school. So I went in as what they call then a mature student. I was 21 when I went to art school, and did a foundation course and then studied fashion design. So moved sideways into fashion and ran my own business in London. When I was working in the theatre, they had it was English National Opera, so there was all of the top opera stars in that opera. But during the summer break, we had the Rudolf Nureyev came there. He was there this season there, and flamenco dancers and the Dance Theatre of Harlem. Those are the ones that I remember. Working with all of those different shows and people was just a great experience that I still draw on. When I was working at Berman's and Nathan's Theatrical Costumiers, and that was there where I met Richard Burton. He came in for fittings because he was playing Churchill, I believe, and I was sent off to his Churchill's shirt manufacturer in Jermyn Street to order these shirts for Richard Burton playing Churchill. And a lot of famous people were going through there, famous film people, because they did stuff. Not so much now, you don't see their names on credits of films, but back in the 70s, they did Star Wars, the original Star Wars film, and they just finished filming that when I started working for them, and there were still costumes from Star Wars in the basement of this warehouse where we were working. I managed to get on a foundation course at St Martin's School of Art in central London. I did a year's foundation course, and then was from there guided onto the fashion and textiles design course, which I studied for 3 years.
To support himself, Andrew worked on a market stall and met some more celebrities.
back in the day, students were given grants. So when I went to art school, I was given a grant, a full grant. So that was all my fees were paid, and I was given so much a month to live on. Once I got into the second year in fashion college, I started making clothes and going on to selling those on a market stall up in Camden Market. When I started selling clothes on Camden Market, Annie Lennox was she was a waitress in the restaurant up the road, and she was a very close friend of the lady who I was sharing the stall with and selling clothes with Elaine. And at St Martin's, one of my classmates was Sade, who then went on to become a very famous singer, and she's still about these days. So. When I finished at art school, I was launching a collection of clothes, and there was going to be a big photo shoot at the National Theatre in London, and I needed somebody to model, and I asked Sade to come and model for me, which she had done before, and she said, oh no, she couldn't do it that day, she was going in the recording studio. I said, why are you doing that? Come and do this photo shoot, you'll get publicity. Why are you doing the photo? Why are you going to the recording studio? Anyway, she didn't take my advice, and the rest is history, I guess. She's now more famous than I am. Subsequent to that, I started doing selling clothes in King's Road, very fashionable, trendy, and ended up doing, people in the nightclub scene of London, selling clothes to them. People like Boy George. I met Boy George. I had the option of making clothes for a shop where he was a shop assistant, was Boy George at the time. So I was there in London during the late 70s, all through the 80s, and it was a great place to live and to be creative. And going to clubs and parties, that was part of it, but making a business and being creative. I was in partnership with somebody, and we started doing the fashion trade fairs, going to Berlin and Paris, selling clothes in New York. And
around the time of the recession, Andrew was about to come across a life-changing opportunity while trying to find a full-time job.
End of the 80s, early 90s, there was a big recession in Britain. A lot of friends of mine in business, lost their marriage, lost their house, lost everything. Fortunately, I didn't have big bank loans or anything and managed to keep going. I started doing some teaching in different art schools in the south of England. I was looking for a full-time teaching job, and I went for an interview in Brighton, not the world centre of fashion. Met somebody else there who was applying for this job, and she'd been working in the Seychelles. So I thought, why not? And I found her some work in the college I was working at in London, asked her to give me the name and address of somebody in Seychelles I could write to see if I could get a job here. And she'd left a note in my pigeonhole then, Mr. Peter Fielouis, School of Art and Design, Seychelles Polytechnic. The same day, I opened the Guardian newspaper, and there's an advert. Seychelles Polytechnic requires fashion instructor. Apply to Mr. Peter Fielouis. And I'm looking at this bit of paper, and then I'm looking at that bit of paper, thinking, this is weird. How often do you see jobs in Seychelles advertised? Never. Never mind the job that was suitable for me. So I applied for the job. She gave me reference. I had absolutely no idea where Seychelles was. In those days, before Google and Google Maps, you had to go to a bookshop and open an atlas, and there, right in the crease of there was a little dot, and that was Seychelles, and that's where I'm coming to. But I still came.
Andrew was about to discover that he was coming to a place that was very different from everything he knew.
My first thoughts, so for the first few days, the first week or two of arriving in Seychelles, was to chuck it all in and go, because I just thought, I'm not going to be able to hack this. But things did get better once I started teaching. Even at teaching, I arrive at School of Art and Design, I have a classroom, there's no furniture, there's no equipment, there's no program. No, it's a challenge. It was a real challenge. I thought I stuck out those first 2 years. In that time, things got worse in England. The economy went more and more down the pan. Things got better here because I got involved in doing creative things here. Within the first year of being here, 1994, suddenly I'm asked to get involved in producing 4,000 costumes for the Indian Ocean Games, which was, right on my street. I mean, I've been working with factories in England, doing pattern cutting, factories that produce thousands of garments. I said, yeah, great, I can get involved with that. Where are the clothing factories? They take me to a factory, it's somebody's garage with one sewing machine in it. That's not a factory. But somehow we got through it. There was another English lady working with me, we managed to get through it, and I ended up going to Mauritius. All the lycra stuff that was needed for the opening ceremonies of the Indian Ocean Games, we organised all that being made in Mauritius, and the rest of the stuff, thousands of costumes made here somehow. So that was when first started getting involved in other things and being recognised here as somebody who could do things and get things made and done. The big break for me came from being involved with the Miss Seychelles beauty pageant in the 90s, training the girls for the show, organising the music and the running of the show. So I did that for quite a few years. And then one day I happened to be in the office of Francis Savvy, and he said, Andrew, you know about fashion shows, look at this. The Miss World pageant is in India and they're bringing all the girls here to do a pre-event fashion show, and we need a stage set. We've asked an architect to do a design for a Creole house, and what do you think of it? So I looked at it and I said, well, he's an architect, he's going to build you a house. You don't need a house, you need stage scenery. And I'm thinking, that's what I can do. I said, you need stage scenery, you need steps that are big enough to fit 90 girls, it's all flat plywood painted. He said, you can do this? I said, I'll do this for you, Francis. So I'm then given time off school to design and build a stage set for the Miss World beauty pageant that was then held at Mahé Beach. And I knew that place because I did the Miss Seychelles beauty pageant there, so I knew what could and couldn't be done there. And I got a couple of local artists to help me to create this stage set. Nobody here had ever done anything like that before.
The following year, the full Miss World beauty pageant came to Seychelles, and Andrew was given time off school to help with the arrangements.
And the second time, I was given the job of designing costumes and making costumes for the local musical number. So Jenny de la Tourdie was singing one of her fantastic songs, and then there was all of these guys and girls in typical Creole clothes, dancing around and singing. And also for that event, they organised the arrival of the girls. They came in on their own plane, and wasn't my idea, but somebody had a great idea that when the plane arrived, it would go to the end of the runway, pull off to one side. There's a beach there. They put the steps up to the plane. All the girls came down the steps off the plane onto the beach to be met by all these dancing girls and boys with coconut drinks, and it was a fantastic, fantastic event. Just the beginning of the show. Australian, that's the other day when I came in, flew into Seychelles International Airport. The plane goes straight past that beach, and I've taken a photograph of that little bit of runway is still there, that they built specially bit of runway for that plane, for that event. It's still there. And again, because that was so good, the following year they brought the whole show back to Seychelles. So that first year it was at Plantation Club, then the following year it was at Mahé Beach, and they built the stage in the sea, so the audience was sitting on the beach. So that year I was involved with the party, the after event celebration party. So I designed a concept of that party and created a lot of props locally, also organised other things that were brought in, that the organisers brought in other artists and carpenters to build really big stuff for just the party, to bring it, enjoy that. The first work I did was for millennium parties, celebrating the millennia. I remember doing something down here at what was then Plantation Club, big cable wireless party and other parties. And for a very long time, I never really I didn't need to advertise, because people came along to parties that I decorated and everybody knew, oh, Andrew G has done this, because it wasn't quite. Because honestly, I mean, now or 20 years later, there's plenty of people doing parties for weddings and celebrations and all of this, plenty of people. And now people have access to the internet, they've got access to. But at that time, there was nobody here with the kind of knowledge and experience that I had of doing things and making things. The only time I got really annoyed and disappointed and angry, really angry, was when we were doing some event somewhere and we needed a lot of banana trees for decoration. And my truck was out, I had to get somebody with a truck, and all these banana trees just got thrown in the truck and completely trashed. So what I was going to use, the decor, could not be used. And that's probably the biggest disappointment. Because of all of that involvement in creative work while I was still teaching, I had a pretty good idea that I could make a business for myself as artist, designer and decorator once I finished teaching. I also, during the last couple of years of teaching, I started painting watercolours to sell to tourists. I was going to Coral Strand and Fisheries Cove Hotel, selling paintings to tourists, and pretty much once a week I would sell an empty.
Andrew earned a living selling his pictures while continuing to make stage sets for parties, and this progressed to making a business out of interior design for properties.
And then also the other side of things, as well as doing the decorations and events for events, people recognised that I could get involved in doing actual interiors and interior design and decoration that would be more permanent than there just for one day, one night. The first work I was asked to do was for Domaine de l'Orangerie, when Joe Albert had just bought out the first part of that project, and they needed all the furniture, or the whole apartments needed furnishing, and I'm sent off to Bali with a chunk of money first of all to design the furniture, design the interiors, and organise getting all that stuff made, shipping it back to Seychelles. One big thing that I realise that I do is that when I do decorations, it's not just putting things around the place. It's creating a feeling, an emotion in people when they go in there and see it. I hadn't been at art and design very long before I realised that things work differently here. And before social media and people doing memes, I wrote 2 memes that went up on a notice board in art and design. One was expect the unexpected. And the other was, don't believe anything is going to happen until you see it with your own eyes, and then doubt what you see. And hardly a day would go by without something happening and somebody pointing, look, Andrew was right.
In 2004, Andrew built Maison Soleil guest house, which took quite a few years.
Yeah, so I'd already bought this property and I set up my art gallery here, and I thought it would be good to have a guest house here. So I started planning this in 2004, and it took time, and probably in 2008 I started building what you see here, which is Maison Soleil, and we opened the doors in 2010. So I've been open here for 15 years now. It took 10 months to build it. That was the easy part. And then another 6 months to get the license. That's the unexpected part of Seychelles. I saved up some money, and my family put in a bit of money as well. And I had the good help of my brother being an architect in England, and he was able to give me some ideas as what I should be doing here. So when we designed this guest house, we had a bedroom here, a bedroom on the other side, and a shared kitchen. And in the end, we realised that the shared kitchen didn't really work with tourists, so that part was split off, and the kitchen was put over there. Tourists love this place, absolutely love it. They love the open air, as we have blinds here that they can pull down when they're cooking, just to keep the insects out. And everything's really nice. We've just remodeled this bedroom and added the mahogany back bed here. We removed the bedside tables and added new lights and cornices just to make this a bit more elegant. We then added, because we had issues with being told after 12 years of running the guest house, the bathroom wasn't big enough. So we've, rather than demolishing the existing bathroom, we added this outdoor bathroom and shower, which tourists absolutely love. It's something that tourists don't get when they're back home. And they can come back from the beach with all their snorkeling gear and just hang in swimsuits and just swim and just hang all over here, and everything dries. And they love it, absolutely love it. They love it, and it's completely private. I think this is what I try to create in this guest house: is every unit has its own privacy, because that's what I expect that's what I would like when I go to stay somewhere. Maybe an evening 4- or 5-star hotels, you have to stay in your room if you want privacy. Here, you can be outside your room, you can be on the terrace, you can be in your shower here. Nobody is seeing you, and it's completely private.
Over the years, Andrew has become quite a collector of unusual objects. We were lucky enough to meet his receptionist, who was a rather quiet lady.
This lady you see here, she is my receptionist. She doesn't say a lot because she sees, like most PL ladies, she sees everything, but she's keeps quiet. She was made by an artist on Royal Island, Sheila Marker, and Sheila is a wonderful creative artist, and she can capture people's likenesses and moods incredibly well. This lady came to live with me because she had been living on Lazare with Barbara Jensen, and who was an artist. She went back to England, did Barbara, and said, would you like to look after her? So she came to live here. She bought her own chair, which saved me having to buy a chair that fitted her, and she's been here ever since. It's great. Children really love her, and also people from outside think it's a real person sitting there, so that's quite fun. What I'm most thankful for, my health, really. And secondly, the opportunity of coming to Seychelles and doing what nobody else has ever done in Seychelles, and that's just been wonderful, and I hope to carry on doing that for many years to come. I don't want to go and live back in England. I'm happy to go back to London, to go to museums, art galleries, theatre. I love that because I really miss that. I miss that. I see what I can here, but you don't get a lot here. And travelling. I mean, my hopes for the next few years, while I'm still fit and able, is to travel as much as I can. Share my thoughts, share my skills with people. Maybe start doing some art classes, either for tourists or for locals. That I'm interested in doing. Keeping the guest house running, and meeting lovely tourists that come to visit us.
So, Andrew, what advice would you give to a young person that really wants to make a living from art?
Stick to it.
disregard what people tell you. People who try to discourage you because it's not, you're not going to make a living from doing it. Just stick with it and believe in yourself. That's the best advice. If I believed what other people had told me, I wouldn't be here.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you.
So there you are, folks. Follow your heart, for there your true treasures lie. And when you're working in Seychelles, don't believe anything unless you see it for yourself.